picked it.
Okay.
Okay, you want to begin on
Do I want to begin?
begin the podcast?
No, you can begin.
Okay, we are here today to talk about the one and only Miss Pearl. Wow, that was a trip.
It was a trip. It was a ride.
That was a fucking roller coaster. Not even. It wasn't even like super up
Like,
and
it was
down.
such an interesting
It was like a
movie.
slow ride to doom, like a slow ride to hell.
Yeah, it really was.
That was fucking crazy. I, just to preface all of this, saw X with you the day I got my wisdom teeth out. So
Yeah.
I was really drugged up. I was in a lot of pain and I fell asleep most of the time. Not because the movie
Mhm.
was bad, just
Yeah.
the operation earlier.
Mhm.
So you would have to kind of give me more insight to that. Did you notice a ton of synchronicities in X that was in Pearl?
There were like a few, I guess. Like, I mean, if you're stretching. Um,
I noticed quite a few from the bit that I did see.
okay. Well, I'm just not thinking hard enough because I didn't really I felt like if you didn't see X, like it definitely didn't matter if you wanted to see
No, I
Pearl.
agree, but I do think them being part of a trilogy definitely makes it so much better
Yeah,
by
for sure.
far. And especially one of the things that stuck out to me was she, wanted to be this like star, right?
Mhm.
But when she went with that guy, he was showing her like all these sex tapes and was like,
Yeah.
this is going to be the future. Like, I'm
Yeah.
going to capitalize
I
on
mean,
it.
they were definitely giving little.
Yeah, and obviously X is what her fucking like reincarnated. God only knows. Like, do we know, or is it a fucking
No, I
mystery?
think it's just supposed to be like she Pearl like in X was telling her, she's not going to amount to anything cuz they kind of have the same dream in a way.
Hmm.
And she couldn't leave the barn. She was definitely not trying to let Maxine leave the barn. That's her name in X,
Are they genuinely
I
supposed
think.
to be different people?
Yes.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Oh shit.
You can't be reincarnated in
No, I know, like in theory, but I just thought it was some full circle kind of
I just
situation.
think, yeah. No, I mean, I like everything makes sense, like the way I'm thinking about
Okay,
it.
what did you think of Pearl herself, not the movie, Miss Pearl?
She's the scariest bitch ever. Like,
Um, Pearl to me was so complex. To me, this movie is the epitome of character development. All of
yeah.
these people, oh my god, these are not one note people at all. Mostly her
Mhm.
and her mom, like
Yeah.
the little sister in law, whatever.
And that's really what they got wrong in X. Well,
What?
not like they didn't get it wrong, but they did like no character development in that. And I know we talked
Did
about
they
that
not?
after. Yeah, they really didn't. I mean, except for, the main
Yeah,
girl.
we
They
were like,
really
who
didn't.
even are these random
They
people
didn't really make us care about them
if they
to
lived or died
care,
at all?
yeah, if they lived or died. It was really kind of strange. I mean, it was aesthetically pleasing of a movie. I mean, this is not an X review, so
Yeah, but they did make up for it in Pearl, for real,
yeah, they
because
did.
her and her mom, if you just want to talk about them because everyone else is really a background kind of character,
Hmm.
they were not one note people at all. There were
Yeah.
so many layers to their perspectives, their intentions, their views, their feelings,
Yeah.
and how everything comes off, but you know who they are, like, or what they're
Yeah.
trying to say. Do you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Or what all their intentions are. Even the
Yeah.
mom
Hmm.
can think is like this abusive, kind of crazy
Yeah.
mom. You can also see that she's seriously trying to do the best for this bitch.
Yeah, and she's going crazy herself, like, in a
Yeah,
way.
she's like projecting her own traumas, her
Yeah,
own
for sure.
anxieties.
I
And you just
mean,
kind of feel a little bit bad for her.
I definitely feel a little bit bad for the mom
Yeah.
because she didn't deserve that horrible death.
The horrible death, but pre-death, like how do you feel about her?
No, I mean, I feel bad for her life. Her life fucking sucks.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
she's really trying to sculpt her daughter to be something very specific, but that's Pearl's like worst nightmare is to end up like her, stay here like
and I
her.
think that her mom is kind of raising her, sorry, in a way that is like to keep her there because her mom does not want to be stuck alone there
With
wiping up that
yeah.
man. She does not. She
And
made that
like
very
also
clear.
doing all the work to make all
Right.
money.
She could never like tend to everything. Like her mom really doesn't do much but maybe like clean around the house and cook. And
Yeah.
she's doing like all of the manual
Farm
labor and
shit, yeah.
wiping her dad's ass. Like
Everything she doesn't want to do.
yeah.
She does not want Pearl to leave her with this
That's how
bullshit.
I felt. Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
that
But
is
like
selfish as hell.
I think it's definitely selfish, but I think she would like obviously kill herself if her daughter like left for so many different
Oh my
reasons.
god,
And like
yeah.
she was crying that one night. Like you can just tell she's so miserable and she
She
is probably
is.
terrified to do she couldn't do it alone. That it's like her survival. I still think she cares about her daughter. I think she definitely they kind of in their big fight, she talked about like how she's seen Pearl do some
Freak shit.
yeah, but
Hell
they didn't
yeah.
really like specify
I
too
think she
much, like
meant
just like
like
the animals and stuff.
I'm sure, and also it seemed like she caught her about to dunk her dad in that. Like
She
it feels
did. I
like
mean,
she
she
was
did.
I mean she was right there. I'm sure she stood and listened for a minute to
Yeah.
her say like I'm going to miss you.
Yeah.
So
That
yeah,
was
she's a little
definitely
scared of Pearl for sure.
yeah. Pearl is definitely not one to upset.
Okay, if Pearl wasn't like a psycho murderer, I'd really feel kind of bad for her. I don't
Well,
even
yeah,
know what to
no. I mean,
say.
I definitely feel bad for her. She's definitely um a psychopath completely if you take that away. I mean, it's sad she's a weird girl.
Mhm.
I mean, due to circumstance, you know, it's definitely still sad. I still feel bad for her if she wasn't a psychopath.
She's just her issues are so complex. It almost feels like she lives in she does a lot of times, especially with people, she lives in somewhat of a delusion. You
Oh
know, how
yeah,
she's
she's
but
like
she can tell, and that's the
definitely a
sad part.
Pisces.
That's the sad part though, is that she can tell. Because she would
Yeah.
have those crying moments of like, I think there's something wrong with me. And
I
she
thought she just meant like that she's a psycho. Like she knows that she like has a problem with like obviously enjoying like murder and obviously somewhat torture cuz when she was taking care of her dad at the beginning, it was like kind of one of the first signs other than the goose that she killed that like she's kind of freaky, like how she grabbed his throat. It was
oh
like,
yeah, that was crazy. And remember when she pinched him really hard?
yeah. That was like so that whole scene was so crazy.
It was terrible.
It
Because
was like
can he
so
feel,
realistic or
or is he
something.
just like, is he paralyzed? Like, does he not feel
No, he
that?
can feel.
That's what I thought. It
He just
seemed
like
like he
can't
could.
like communicate, it seems like.
Yeah, I know. I
Cuz
wonder
he was
what
like
illness
crying,
that
like
was.
he had a bunch of different emotions and like obviously pain. He's on morphine.
Oh yeah, he is on morphine.
Yeah.
So remember when she chugged that shit at the theater?
Bitch. This bitch was like so real and such like a
It was one. That's why I think I feel bad or something. I like her despite the psychoness. She's so human.
she
It
really
is
is.
more human than humans I see out here
I
because it's
know.
a vulnerable human, a very,
I know.
very authentically
And she
vulnerable
kind of
human.
has that like inbred kind of like personality almost from I guess being on the farm her whole life, but like it's so real like seeing it.
So fucking real. I know. It was crazy.
That whole movie was just like, it was really a trip.
Like there were parts when she was like saying her sob story about herself, and I really felt like I get it. Like I get
Yeah.
where you're coming from. I seriously, you're maybe not dealing with your stress properly,
Yeah.
but I know what
I
is
mean,
going
she's
on. I
so
hear you.
trapped. And
She
like
is trapped. She is
her
trapped.
last her last hope was like
That was her last hope. That dance.
that dance.
Oh my
That
god.
was so, and like the crying. I mean, Mia Goth, round of
Round of
applause for
applause.
you.
Round of applause.
Cuz you did such a good job on this character. Like I can't even believe it almost. I was so in her world. Like
So
when
much.
she started talking to the girl who did get the part, which like obviously we all kind of knew,
The
oh,
sister in law?
that she's gonna get the part. And then, when she takes her home and she's like, no, like I really didn't. Like I almost believed her for a second.
No, I think she really didn't.
No, she did.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because she switched
Because
up and she was like, yeah, like,
no, okay, this and you're totally valid in your opinion. What I thought happened
she was just trying to make
was
her
that we
happy.
all thought like, yeah, okay, they wanted someone blonde and
Mm-hmm.
different. This bitch is probably gonna get it.
Mm-hmm.
Then when she was like, "You got the part," and she's like, "No, I didn't." She was like, "Don't like you got the part." She's
Yeah.
like, "Pearl, I really," and she's like, "Don't lie to me." And she's so scary that she was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, yes," because she's trying to save her
I
life at
thought
this
both
point.
ways, but I thought it does really sound like she probably did get the part and she was really scared of her at that point. She didn't want to piss her off. And then she knew that she wasn't buying the lie. So she just said it and was going to make the best of.
It can definitely go either way.
Could definitely go either way for sure. But when she was giving the big like monologue about what she would tell
So good.
her husband, I was like lost in like the sauce. And that was such a long monologue.
It was like
There was
six,
so
seven
much to
minutes,
it.
if not longer, like 8 minutes.
Yeah. And there was so much to
There
it.
was so much. It
Like I
was
was forgetting that she was even talking to the sister-in-law because she was so like,
I know. I was lost in her words.
yeah.
Truly. It was the best monologue I've ever seen in a movie to this date. The longest and best.
I know. And she did such a good job, like the one take of it all. Because it was really like one take.
Possibly.
There was maybe like a couple, but like it was just, I mean, it stayed on her face forever.
Hmm.
It was very interesting. The mother's death was horrific.
It was. What did you think of when she was chasing the sister in law with the axe? That was one of the best scenes I've
Yeah.
ever seen ever. In terms of quote unquote cheesy horror where
Yeah.
there's an axe
I
murderer or
agree.
someone
It was
chasing
so
something.
real.
It was so fucking real. And her walk out the door with no one has a weapon or anything at this point.
I know.
And just the looks they
The
give
look
each other, the feelings that they both
when she
had.
grabbed that axe.
Yeah, that bitch, as soon as she saw her, she knew something was
Yeah.
wrong. And Pearl knew, I'm about to kill you. It was just the
Yeah.
most psycho shit
It
ever.
was so psycho. Like the multiple blows to her back. Like,
And she kept going. And that
I
felt
know.
kind of real too.
I
It felt like
know.
some fight or flight of I'm gonna still keep going
Yeah,
despite
like
this.
let me go and I won't tell anyone. I promise I won't tell anyone as she's like you can see all the blood pouring out of her. Like she was still hoping that she'd get out.
What did you think of Pearl's big dance, her ticket home?
I mean, I was definitely lost in it.
I loved it.
I thought she did so good.
It
I
was
thought
so fun.
the costume design was so
It
good.
was
Like
cute, yeah.
the red dress because everyone else like was so bland. Like
They're
and
so
she
boring
comes
and
in with this
basic.
like really basic milkmaid looking dress, but it's dyed this insane red and the red lips and costume design. Good job. Cause that was like, I mean, you really thought like she really might get it, although because like at this point you kind of know she's keeps getting stuck. at the barn. So you know she's not really gonna make it, you don't think? But
I really thought she might have had a chance.
I felt like maybe they are giving her a chance because this is so good.
Yeah, and it did have this very eerie vibe to it before it went to all of those colorful backgrounds. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I think it was mostly because she had just murdered her whole family,
Yeah.
basically, and then come to this shit, right? She killed her
Yeah.
parents and that
Mhm.
guy by this point.
Yeah.
And then she went and she's in a totally different mind
And so
space.
much happened between them saying like, okay, this thing is tomorrow, to her killing her parents, to then going and meeting up with this guy, coming back, killing him. Like so much had happened because they were like, it's early in the morning, and then they said it was 6 a.m.
Yeah,
or something like
and
that whenever they got back to the barn. Like so much had happened right before this big audition.
this big audition, and when she's sitting outside with her sister-in-law, and she's like, I have to get this. Like, I have to get this. And her
Hmm.
sister-in-law is like, yeah, totally.
Yeah,
She's like, no, this
she's
is
not fucking
mine.
around.
Like, this, I have to get this. She just killed everyone
Yeah.
to basically get to this fucking audition.
Hmm. And her other hope was that that guy was going to take her to Europe. And once she realized he was a little spooked by her, yeah, she lost that opportunity.
Yeah,
So it
because
just like,
she dropped the bag with
yeah.
that, I don't have a dog.
Oh God,
Don't
he
miss
was already
mistake.
kind of spooked by her. He already didn't kind of feel right about the situation. He was already getting the ick.
Hmm. And
And then that,
she did not like that. She was so offended.
so beyond offended.
What did I do wrong? Tell me. Yeah, that was horrible. But anyway, when she does do her big dance, before it went to all of the colorful backgrounds and cool shit
Hmm.
like that, and it was just her on stage, and the camera was like slightly zooming in. It
Hmm.
was such a fun watch. It
It
was had an
was.
eerie, maybe because of the time period type of dance
Hmm.
energy to it. No music at first, right?
Hmm.
It was really a good scene.
I thought it was a good, I thought like a lot of it, it was, it's so interesting. And I felt the same way about X, I think, where these movies are really aesthetically pleasing. They're so different.
Yeah, this one to me felt almost like theater, almost like a play. It
Yeah, it
almost
was
looked like
giving,
sets and like
yeah,
very
play vibes.
stage sets.
Yeah.
And even the monologues, that's very theatery to sit and
Yeah.
have a long monologue like that of just
Mhm.
a lot of emotion, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, and the whole look of it, the very red barns, it was the grass was really
Yeah.
green. The sky was very like purple and like indigo at night.
Yeah.
It was just very vibrant in colors.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that movie really sucked me in to whatever world that is.
My God, I know. What do you think of the ending
Oh my
with
God, I know.
her that long smile cry? I always fuck with a smile cry. You know, like I Tanya
Yeah.
or something like that.
Mhm.
Those there is something it says so much when someone is trying to smile so hard and
No.
they start breaking down in the middle of it and then bring their smile back together.
Yeah.
And that
That
was
I
like
mean,
5 minutes.
it was so long. I was like, another round of applause for you, Mia Goth, because I couldn't have
Yes,
done that.
standing ovation. We should have all stood up.
I know. That was just, it was so crazy. And okay, so obviously you did watch X. So you know like a little bit about how like she had the husband.
Yeah.
So is that like her husband? Like does he is he just like okay with her being a cuz he looked genuinely kind of freaked out by what he came home to?
Do you know what his name was in X?
Oh, I cannot remember. I guess we could look it up.
I just wonder if he was in
That's why I
this.
was wondering like if how cuz his name is Howard. That if
Yeah,
that is the guy that's the husband that is going along with this bitch.
right.
And he just I guess decided to stick with her. throughout all those murders. And
Yeah.
obviously now he's in on it,
Let
from
me look it
X.
up. Let me see what this guy's name is in X.
I feel like it really could be Howard. Like it sounds familiar.
Howard. Yup.
He's stuck with his bitch.
That is wild. Did they kill together in
Yeah,
X?
I mean they were. Yeah, I think so. No, I think that Pearl killed more, and like obviously there was more to Pearl's story because obviously because there was a parallel with Maxine. They just did more development on her, but yeah, I guess he really stuck with his bitch. Like that's crazy.
That is crazy. And the whole movie itself had just such a, what is it, 1910
Mhm.
aesthetic. Even just the, well, I guess it would be probably more of like the 50s or something. But even just the circles and
Yeah.
the way they did the titles, the
Mhm.
credits,
No,
like
I
an
know. They
old-fashioned
really did.
movie.
They did the same thing in X.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it was good. I know I keep like writing her dick, but Mia Goth also being a writer on this, I thought that was cool.
Was she a writer? I thought it said producer.
I think it said written by both of them.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Good for
I mean, you
her.
can double check that too if you want. I might be wrong.
Could be right.
Well, it's impressive. I mean, the writing was crazy on it. Like this script, like writing it, it just feels like it would have been crazy.
Oh my god, and a scene we haven't even spoke of. The Scarecrow. That
Yeah.
how can a movie be that crazy that you forget that she fucked a scarecrow in a
Yeah.
field?
And like took his little hat.
Kept it for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. That scene was so crazy.
What was
Like
that?
it's all these like really long. Like this movie is made up of really long like crazy moments that she's doing that are so like that say so much but are so little. Anyways, yeah, it was really crazy.
What'd you think of the scarecrow scene? Like, what
I
the
mean,
fuck was that?
I know. What was it? Like,
It felt like an insight to just her. It felt like more character development. I think what
yeah,
they
like that
did
she was
so
like
well.
so like lonely and she was so desperate. Like obviously she was very horny and like that's definitely an ex, how she's
Yeah.
kind of like a sex freak. But yeah, it was just I guess kind of like a foreshadow and like everything she's wanting right now and like doesn't have her man. She's horny for this other man now.
I can't believe she never had any success. You
She
know what
was
was sad to me?
mhm,
You know how she's kind of living in this delusion in
yeah,
general? Even this dance thing, even if she got it, it
I
was
know.
just around the state.
I
They
know.
just danced around the state. Like it
I
wasn't
know.
a shot to stardom or
I
something.
know. That's like how delusional it
That's
was.
that's when I knew the delusion was severe because this was life and death.
Yeah.
And I can understand, all of, like obsessed artist movies, their life and death situations.
Mhm.
This wasn't even that big of
I
a
think it
thing.
just like goes to show in how small of a world she's been living. Like she has been
Yeah.
seeing this barn her whole life basically. Like she
Oh.
doesn't know what's out there like so yeah, this to her I mean probably does sound like you're reaching the stars
Oh.
cuz
Yeah.
her world is so small. I don't even think she realizes.
What do you think her mental health issue is?
I mean, I'm no psychiatrist or
Unlicensed review.
she's definitely like I don't even know. Like almost like BPD, probably like obviously she's a sociopath, period.
She is.
I mean,
She's not. Let me make this clear really quick for the 1-800 talk. You need to talk. You can
yeah.
always reach that line. 1-800 need to talk.
Yeah.
Something like that. Um, mental health. Not saying this is all she is. She has
Yeah.
that is despite her
Yeah.
psychopath tendencies and sociopathy.
Yeah.
Just separately on a human level, just because she's very emotional, slightly disassociated. Like
Yeah.
what category is that going into?
I don't know.
I know.
She's
It's
so
just I was saying like
complicated.
if that bitch could get help, I don't even know what your issue is. I can't
I mean,
pinpoint
she's
it.
a murderer. She's a psychopath. So, like, antisocial personality disorder for sure. And she probably does have BPD because of her, like, she's so in the moment, like, with how she feels. And she's so emotional to every degree. She's super touchy. Like, obviously, Jeffrey Dahmer had BPD. So, like,
Did he?
yeah, he was diagnosed with BPD.
No way.
Uh huh.
That's crazy.
A lot of psychopaths have it. I don't think that they, like, are just like emotional parts of BPD. I think it's like other stuff, like in their upbringing and how they react to certain things. Like a lot of psychopaths have BPD.
Hmm. Well, it feels like I don't know. A lot of all psychopaths have something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But so does everyone else. I want to make that
Mm-hmm.
clear.
It's definitely not
99%
an
of
excuse.
people it's not an excuse. It's barely an
Yeah,
explanation,
it's
and
barely.
it's not an excuse because most people have mental health issues. Just want to reiterate that.
Yeah, if you have BPD, that does not mean you're a psychopath or a killer.
Not even close. Can't use it as an excuse or an explanation. Just a better
Yeah,
understanding of what you're going through. That's it.
definitely.
And if you ever need to reach out to anyone, it is 1-800. I should probably get the actual number. I think it's wannatalkaboutit.com.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, just go to wannatalkaboutit.com and you
And
can
get the
address
help.
all of your problems.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Pearl. Um, anything else you're thinking about?
I don't know. It was just such a crazy movie. Like, it's hard to even talk about certain moments. It's almost like you have to see it to like believe it.
Yeah. What was it like in X when that bitch got eaten by that alligator? Did she just get pushed in by Pearl?
I think so. I think. I mean,
That's
it's a
sad.
blur. It's a little bit of a blur, like the murders that were happening because they were happening so quick.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'd have to watch it again.
What would you rate Pearl on a scale of 1 to 10?
Maybe like an 8 to 8.5. Probably an 8.5.
I think I would give it a 9.
Yeah.
I think it was very, very good, very original, very
Mhm.
creative, very fun, and very layered. It had
Yeah.
so many layers to it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I would give it a 9. I don't know. 8.5 or 9. What about a percentage?
I would give it a 93%.
Okay. Fair. I think I would give it like 91.
Fair too. I thought about that.
Yeah. But overall, it was a great movie. I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I
And you
definitely
don't have to
recommend it.
see X, but you
But you
should see
should. You
it
should see
before or
X.
after. I don't think it really matters. It might be interesting to see it after you see see Pearl, but either way.
Yeah, maybe we should watch X after this and see how it looks with the technical
Yeah.
line of the story.
Yeah, because that's I think a
Actually, I
little bit
think
of what
Maxine would technically be second.
hmm,
I think Maxine would technically be second.
what do you mean?
I think it would go Pearl, Maxine, X.
Oh, really? I thought it was after.
Hmm. To me, Maxine, I thought was basically Maxine's origin story.
Okay, I don't know. I thought it was
I
like
don't
her
know either
after.
because there's barely a trailer.
Yeah. I don't I think they barely are making it. I think they're still casting or they were like not too long ago.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.